entrepreneurs, and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here each and every week bringing phenomenal community leaders and business owners from the Tampa community to share their stories, and as I like to call them, the life nuggets that we all possess. And they share them with all of us, and I'm such a firm believer that we can learn so much from each other. So happy that you tuned in today. Please check out more information about Edge Media at edgemediahub.com. Check out all of our partnership information and the different opportunities and benefits. There's so much to see there. Also, our resource center is right there online. There's so much just from over the years and all of the articles from different types of industries, community leaders. We really bring out, people dig deep as they're contributing articles to us. And in fact, so excited about our upcoming second annual celebration of women. Mark Cantrell, who's the CEO of the Florida Orchestra, wrote an article on the importance of dreaming and the last conversation with my father. And I tell you what, it's just amazing, and it's heartfelt, and he's really sharing, just a very important time in his life. And there's so many articles like that where it's not just about a sales pitch or, come visit the orchestra. I mean, although we'd love for you to, it's a great opportunity to, again, just take those valuable life nuggets from so many that are willing to offer it and do with it what you want. But again, thank you to Mark and all the contributing writers. If you've not yet, subscribed to the magazine and purchased a copy, please do so. Go to edgemediahub.com. You can go to our store for annual subscriptions, and please support the cause of sharing stories and subscribe to the annual issue. It's just a great community full of great people sharing stories. So I could talk a lot more about all that, and I'd love to get to our guests now. So again, for more information, go to edgemediahub.com. Any questions, info@edgemediahub.com. And be sure to save the date, September 29th. We'll be celebrating our second annual celebration of women, as well as our fall real estate focused issue, which will highlight quite a few of our real estate gurus, residential, commercial, title, hospitality, hotel. That'll be a great issue as well. So stay up to date with everything going on Edge, and consider joining the Hub and getting involved, getting connected, and personalized. So I'll stop now. Go there. I'll bring back more of it later. But really excited about our guest today. I actually have two with me, which is really exciting. Husband and wife, Greg Celestan and Sam Sodos. Thank you so much for being with me. It's a pleasure.
Of course.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
COVID wedding.
Has it been a year?
It has.
Yes.
Yeah, we just celebrated our first anniversary.
Time goes so fast. It really seems like...
Not really, though.
You don't
During
think so?
COVID, not really, no.
It-
COVID year is like 7. It's like dog years.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it, I guess.
So we feel like we've been married maybe 6, 7 years.
Right.
But we love each other so much, and we're newlyweds, but we feel we should get extra credit.
Yeah. Well,
Every day. We were together every day for a year. So think about that in the first year, so it's a lot. You didn't have the normal things that you would have, like we couldn't interact with our friends, our family.
you were trapped.
We were trapped.
Yeah, it's funny because they were even joking about like all the different couples, like even those that might be at their ends, right, that are now forced to be together. They're either going to kill each other through this, right, or they're going to reconcile, or who knows. But we were just talking about that. It was interesting because we will never probably experience anything, I hope not,
Right.
in our lifetime again. The world just doesn't commonly, shut down. It's crazy to even think it's happened, and I think now as we're starting to rebound some and things, you walk around and go into a store and not everyone has masks on, but I don't know, there's still so many people dealing, but thank God, we're where we are with it. And you were still able to, the pictures are beautiful just from the small wedding and, what you were able to do, and at least you were able to bring those close friends together.
It was
Right.
nice.
Yeah, and I can't believe it's been a year already.
I know. And all the things, previously the last few years, we had spent Christmas and in London, and we went to Amsterdam. We were all getting set. We were going to honeymoon in Italy. We had all of these plans. And it's really funny because it helped us kind of look at what we appreciate in life. So many things happened last year. We had the pandemic, George Floyd was killed. So we spent so much time together, not only, talking about each other and our lives, but everything around us too.
Right.
And we got to learn a lot about each other. It was really, like I said, I learned a lot. I knew some things about Sam. Sam and I are both news junkies. That's her background. But I never realized the extent. I thought I was a news junkie, but Sam can watch C-SPAN for 2 hours, no matter what's on C-SPAN. And I was one of those type of guys. If it was some major issue, I can watch C-SPAN. Sam can watch C-SPAN if they're discussing the debate of the sex lives of frogs in Oregon.
Oh, funny.
She'll watch it. So we learned a lot about each other.
No, it probably does, because it does force you to be together. And really, when are we ever together, 24/7 for a year?
Right.
Right? I mean, you get to go to work, and when you separate, you go different places, and you have friends that you hang out with. Yeah. So,
Right.
I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective, but. Well, since you survived that now, the rest is easy, right?
Yeah, I think we feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think we not only feel that we survived it and we are good to go from here, but we're looking forward to really enjoying life now and what's ahead. And
all the things you have to look forward to.
Right, like you're saying, we're going out now, mask-free, and it feels so different now. Just going out to a store and interacting with friends and just whatever it is. Yeah, making plans.
Yeah,
Just whatever that is, it feels really amazing. And the things that you used to maybe not care about so much, even like a business luncheon or whatever that was that you maybe were dreading, is so awesome now.
Right.
So I think it just, everything feels, we really are appreciating it much more. And so we survived it, but we learned a lot.
Yeah, I think, and that's the big takeaway from everything, right? Is just learning how can we change or be better, be better individually with everything that we experience. We have we haven't had an event since February of 2020,
Right.
which is odd for us. We typically, with every magazine launch, every 4 months, we've got this big, extravagant, event that we do, and I haven't seen anyone. I mean, you Zoom, and that's, although I do hope some of that stays. I do, I met with USF recently, and normally it's, from downtown, it's a 30-minute drive with traffic, and you park, and I meet with the MUMA team, and I love Moez, and I love seeing him.
Moez, yeah.
He's one of my favorite people, but when you're able to do a meeting too, then a Zoom thing, and in 15, it is easy.
Right.
There's a lot of advantages to the digital, but
I hope it doesn't go back to that. I hope we don't get too used to doing everything digitally.
Right.
And I'm someone who my background is in TV news, and I don't even FaceTime with people. I didn't before. Right. I don't now. I just, there's something about it that makes me uncomfortable. And I know that people want to stay connected that way, and I understand why we needed this during this time. But I just feel like it's making us disconnected, and I just hope that, and I know for you in your company, it's like you really need to connect, that human connection, that factor of connecting in a human way with your employees, with people, in your relationship, in your lives is just so important. And so I really just hope that, I think it's so great that we've learned how to do this, but I hope that we can find a way to go back to the importance of having meetings again in person. And
it worried me because Edge was built on personability and relationships and hugs, and us coming together. So that's why I had never really embraced digital before, and I don't FaceTime. And it's funny, I got blonde again the other day. And, we're sitting there waiting, and I've got foil and the anyway. But these kids are in the hallway, and they're all on FaceTime, and they're all talking loudly. They don't know each other, but just dude, does nobody have like normal phone conversations anymore? Like, or put earphones in or something. Not everybody wants to hear your conversations either, but it's like technology today. You know, it's like they're all FaceTiming and then they're all hollering over each other to like hear. I thought it was funny. And I had a dryer on my head. You know, I still could hear it. You know, it's just funny. But, you know, there is some time management, like, you know, efficiency to some of it. But yeah, it's, so I was saying, so we haven't had an event or anything. Visit Tampa Bay has their annual event coming up, again, because we're always recording ahead of time, or behind, anyway, something like that. But it'll be great to see everyone. So it's the 30th at the Straz, and, you know, it's been so long. So it'll be great to, you know, be able to go and just bring my team back together to go, right? Because we haven't, you know, we've seen one another, but not in that setting, you know, so looking where I would never look forward, you know, to really, I mean, you do, but you don't. It's just another commitment typically. But anyway, now it's,
well, you appreciate it now. I mean, we had a Super Bowl. We didn't get a chance to be there in person for the most part. Some people did. You know, we won the Stanley Cup. You know, our baseball team, you know, the Rays, you know, you know, made some.
We had a great, Tampa had a great year.
We had a great run, but, you know, we missed that interaction because the fandom, that's what makes it fun. You know, we really enjoy. And we missed out on all of that. So we've been talking about that too. We're just looking forward to this year of being able to participate in sports and enjoying it like we couldn't do last year. I mean, even things, I guess you do appreciate things more. If anything we get out of the last year is now we appreciate the friendships, the relationships, the face-to-face interaction that we couldn't do for over a year.
We tried, in fact, like toward the end of 2020, we went to digital, you know, or virtual with the shows and did Zooms. And it was great because it was an opportunity to bring people on that couldn't normally come because of distance or time travel, not literally, but, you know, but I just couldn't, I didn't enjoy sitting in a studio and looking at a monitor. It just, I thought, you know, let's take a pause and we'll come back in January. And at that point, hopefully we can go back to, you know, in the studio. It just, you know, it's just not the same. So anyway.
I think it's great we all were able to think creatively. You know, we all had to become creative, think creatively to make our businesses work, to make everything work, our relationships, whatever it was, and that's amazing. So we can still use those tools, but I think we all miss connection on some level.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
And on some level, maybe we don't.
Right. Mixed feelings. No, for
some
sure.
level, it's okay.
I wrote for the publisher's letter that's in the new issue coming out. You know, it was, well, first of all, because people are like, why, we could do an event now. Like, why are you waiting? But there's still some people not comfortable. There's still some people in masks, and you know, I don't hear well. And you know, it's not something I talk about. But as a child, my left eardrum burst. It never healed, right? And I don't hear out of my left ear. So I have partial hearing out of the right, you know, but I don't hear. And I never realized how dependent I was on reading lips. So once you put a mask on, you've now muffled your sound, your voice. So you've made it even harder for me to hear. You're trying to stay 6 feet from me, you know, and it's like, I don't want to get any closer to you, but now I can't even read your lips. So I cannot communicate with you.
That actually was my panic when we got married, because we got married on May 24th of 2020, and that was kind of right in the middle of when masks became mandatory. And what I realized was that I couldn't understand. I think, you know, I think we all really do rely on that, even without having any kind of extra. And I could remember, I couldn't understand, and I was really panicked. I couldn't understand what they were saying, and I wanted to understand. I couldn't understand what they were saying, and then I just gave up. I gave up. I was like, you know, whatever, just do it. I don't even know what they're saying. I give up.
And it is frustrating.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I can kind of tell too. I mean, you're a very personable person too. And I think when you want to understand, you care. I mean, and it doesn't matter really what's going on, but and you want to give your full attention. I mean, you want to be able to be there in the moment. And when you can't hear it and you can't communicate, it's frustrating. And I wasn't going to put myself into a position where I'm hosting an event and I can't maybe talk with, you know, a third of the people there. Or, you know, I just can't. I don't want to, and I don't want to put that type of stress or pressure on me, you know, and it's not just about me, but it's even, you know, a lot of you've got older generations, you've got, I just didn't want to put anyone at risk or feel uncomfortable. And during the summer months, people are going to begin to travel. They can't wait to get out and do something. So to me, it was just best to hold off till September. And I probably will still have a few in mask. Who knows,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
But we'll be outside and like we typically are. But I think a few more months will be even a better opportunity. And I didn't want to hinder our events or limit the size.
Right.
I wanted to continue what we've become known for, in a sense with that. So anyway, we've got a lot to look forward to. And
for sure.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Hopefully, the more of the population does go through the vaccines and gets that, and it's just smooth sailing from here on out.
Let's hope so.
And just future plans of what we can do and what we have to look forward to. So and a lot, especially as newlyweds. You guys,
Yeah, we definitely still have a honeymoon.
Yeah, that's right.
And I would think too, as we get older, right, in our lives, that it's a different set of wisdom. I feel like we have. Granted,
absolutely.
the more I say this all the time. The more I feel like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. But at the same time, I try to learn from what I didn't know that I know now, right, and trying to be the best me that I can be, right. So at some point, it just seems like. It's one of the advantages, I think, as we get older is, relationships, wisdom. We know to communicate, right. And especially after surviving, the year you did, right? That was the test, but.
Yeah, we do miss that because, we both enjoy travel, even though we enjoy coming back to Tampa, which is the best part of it. But we had all of these grandiose plans. We both realized that early on when our first trip to London, we loved it, walking around. We didn't make any formal plans. We just enjoyed the interaction with people, going in and out of pubs, shopping, and it was just free-flowing. But that was the part we enjoyed because we both enjoy meeting people and hearing stories. Sam is a natural storyteller, and from her background, and so she has this ability to pull stories out of people. It's really funny. I tell a story. So my West Point classmate is General Richard Clark, the current Special Operations commander, the 4-star over there. Okay. And so when he came to town, all of us got together to welcome him, keep him humble, because we remember him back when he was at West Point. And so Sam had a chance to meet a lot of my West Point classmates. So we had this function, and Sam I saw her talking to some of my classmates. I didn't think much about it because I'd known these people for years. And then later, we're at home, and she's telling me all these stories, and I said, I've known these people for 30 years. In 10 minutes, Sam was able to extract out all of these personal stories. How she does it, I don't know, but people were pouring their heart out to her about, love lost and things that they had done, and I said, I had no idea.
It's that charisma, just that, powerful personality in a sense where it's... I can relate some. I can tell. I think that's why I wanted you to be here as well.
Military guys are easy to crack. They want to be cracked.
Yeah, see.
With that, so I'm always talking about different books and stuff that I'm reading, and I love this book. I love the book. I highly recommend it. Admiral William H. McRaven. I love it, and it's all a mixture of stories. And I didn't even know. It's Dr. Allison. I think it's Dr. Allison, the one that has had huge developments in cancer research and studies, and just of all the 20 years of people denying him funding and denying that any of his things are going to work, and he has saved so many lives. But so many amazing stories, and this is my thing. So it's just like we do on here and everything. I highly recommend it. Purchase a copy today. I went through Amazon, but it's an awesome story. Yeah. So kind of as you're mentioning, like West Point and different military stories, just so many amazing people, and that's what brings me joy. I think more than anything is sharing stories about people that people don't know, right. And we all learn. Again, we can grow and learn, but if we don't share or nobody asks,
right,
then that's it's an unshared story. Right. It's like.
What did you like about the book? What was it about the book that you liked?
Everything. All of the stories that were included in there, are about these people that were just ordinary people that had a dream. He references a story about young I don't know the military terminology.
Okay.
So young airman type,
Okay.
lower level Air Force. He was
Right.
actually going to meet with I think it was Barack at that time, and it was in the middle of something, but he's in a caravan and he's going and he's supposed to give orders, and this airman, he wasn't on the list to go in. The airman refused to let him go. Like 3 people go in before the admiral tries to go. They had 5 minutes, to get to Barack to brief him on something, and the airman says, "I'm sorry, sir. You can't be here. Or you can't go in, and I don't have access. You're not cleared." And so 3 people went, or 2 before him, and then he goes, and she still wouldn't let him. And she could see his marks, or whatever.
Right,
She
yeah,
knew,
he was
and she just, no disrespect. She said, "But my job is to guard, what's beyond this, and I cannot let you through. You're not cleared." And 5 minutes or so pass. They finally get the clearance, and they go, and then they come back, and he stops the car, and he gets out, and of course, I'm sure she thinks he's going to ream her, right? But he doesn't, and he hands her a coin or
Yep,
something,
yeah.
and just said, it's just like these stories bring tears to my eyes, and I can only imagine the impact that had on her life.
Oh, right.
And here's just an airman doing her job, and even these others, that lost their lives, too. And there's one story of where now there's a big ship named after this guy, and and he was just this normal guy, but he saved. He was a hero. And it just talks about that, heroes don't have capes necessarily.
Right.
There are heroes every day, but it also talks about integrity,
Right.
and why. That you should have integrity, and why should you respect others, and why should you be true to your word, and why should these people be examples, and it's just even McCain, the story about McCain and him being a POW,
Right.
and everything that he went through, and the fact that they were going to release him once they found
his
out.
dad was a admiral.
And he
He
said
refused.
no.
Right.
He stayed 5 more years and was beaten and beaten and beaten. And anyway, that's why I like it. I know you didn't want all that, but it's just touching. It really is.
Well, I'm glad, as a segue, you're coming up, you're doing the issue with some of the women who have been leaders in this town. And it's funny, Sam and I both are good friends with Pam Iorio, and I look at her, she has a book. I don't know if you know that. Make sure she tells you about her book on leadership. But not only her work as mayor, but what people don't realize is that she was in high demand around the country. She spoke first when her book came out about leadership and management, and then when she was hired as the CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, she was going back and forth to Dallas, and maybe, I'm sure she'll tell you about this.
Not to interrupt you, it's so crazy, and it is the first time it's ever happened, and Pam is incredible. And so I sit down with all of the women, and personally, typically, we did some because it was COVID and health, we did through Zoom, but I already knew them mostly, but Pam and I, sitting down together and her sharing her story, I record them.
Okay.
So typically when I write, then I have tried to hire other people to transcribe them, but it's part of my writing process. So I transcribe and write as I do, and normally I end up with about 1,800 words, and then I have to get it down to like 850, for the magazine page. When I finished Pam's, it was over 4,000. And Pam, it was one life nugget, like I say, after another. It's almost as if it's all quotes, it just flowed. And I had to move some stories around, but everything. So she was one of the first stories I wrote, and I put it to the side because it's like, what do I do with this thing? I'm not going to chop up 4,000 words. So I did the rest of the stories, and then, I came back to Pam's, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because I don't have room. Anyway, first time ever that it's only, the beginning is in the story, and you actually have to go to the website to read the whole thing, because there was no way I was not going to brutally chop this up and not keep it together. She's got quite the story.
She could write 2 or 3 more books. She's an influence. She's a mentor to me, but so many people in this town. And I'm glad that you're doing a segment on that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and I guess because by the time this comes out, we'll have magazine copies out. But thank you for your dedication to. It just shows your contribution, or her contributions, and what that meant to you.
She's influenced so many of us.
It's funny, she made the comment about writing the book, and she said that, she's like, I didn't enjoy that so much. She's like, I enjoy the speaking. She said, but writing is so introverted. It's something you do alone. And I hadn't thought about it, but I thought, Yeah, I'm looking around. I'm like, yeah, I am alone quite a bit. But it's like when I have family, and I'm kind of joking, but it is kind of when you're writing like that. You're in. Anyways, she didn't care for that too much, but she's like, I love the speaking part. And she's so humble.
She is.
And it's and even all the women were like, wow, I want to be her. Not Pam's. They haven't read Pam's, but even there's them. What I have found too is that everyone is so critical of themselves. It doesn't matter who you are, at what age, and of anything. And it's they downplay, like they don't realize how much of an impact they've had on other people. And I think they hope one day they will. And I'm like, but wait, you're here for a reason. You had an impact on me alone. So if you did on me, I can only imagine, who else you touched as well. So you don't have to wait for that day to come. It's already here. Right. It's been here. It'll continue to affect change. And if I can help share those words, I'm going to do that. I get so passionate. I don't stop talking once you get me on a roll with things. Greg, you were on the show with me back in 2018,
right.
Back in one of the restaurant days where we were in, and that was great opportunity to get to know you and about some of your West Point. I'm trying to think what season that would have been, and I can't recall. Might have been 5 or 6, but if definitely look, you can go through, and I'm so excited. We're on all the platforms and YouTube. You can watch on the website. There's so many different options. Any of your favorite platforms, you can definitely find Greg and Sam on there. It's exciting as all these different things come together that you've been working on for so long, or even like so many years ago, wanting to be doing different things or having the opportunity to do, and then when you finally have that chance to do things. But so much has happened in the last couple of years for you, and getting married. And so Sam, let's talk a little bit about your background and more about the news and the media and sharing stories. And where is your background? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I went to school at the University of Wisconsin. And after graduating, I spent a year in Israel, just kind of living and studying. And then I went.
Great opportunity.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was in 1993, and that was right when Arafat and why am I blanking now? Arafat and
I can't remember.
It was Clinton.
Oh, Clinton was the president, right?
Yeah. Who's on the other side?
Reagan.
But anyway, I screwed that whole thing up now. But anyway,
I do it all the time.
The big handshake with President Clinton on the White House lawn. Anyway, so it was a peaceful year somewhat in Israel, and so
good time to visit.
Good times in Israel. Not as rocky as the last year in Israel. So came back and worked for a U.S. Senator in Wisconsin, and I really wanted to be a journalist my whole life since I was a little girl, and I didn't know really what form that was going to be in. It ended up being in TV news, and I started at the NBC affiliate in Milwaukee, kind of writing overnight.
So what was
copy.
it about being a journalist? Was there a journalist that you would watch, or something that you admired, or someone? Like, what sparked that?
Honestly, I remember doing an exercise in a social studies class in 7th grade where you had to cut out a news article and then summarize it on the other side, and I just loved it. I loved summarizing current events. I loved summarizing this news article, and I loved history. And I liked English. I was good at English. I was good at grammar. I mean, who's into grammar? I mean, that's weird.
On speed dial.
I like understand
you find all
participles.
The errors, like, in
yes, I understand. Gerunds and things like that.
What is a gerund?
It's a part of a sentence. It's really, I really get adverbs, and it's really very nerdy.
Can diagram a sentence.
Yeah, I have a lot of books on grammar. Like, I like books on grammar.
Kendra, make a note. Okay.
It's very, very weird. So anyway, I I didn't know if I wanted to be a print journalist or what, but when I went to school, I ended up going into the broadcast route at the University of Wisconsin, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to get a job somewhere, I don't care, anywhere. What really wasn't that easy, as those dreams usually are. You don't just, I thought, oh, I'll get a job, any old station, anywhere, small station in the world, and ends up no one wanted to hire me. So that's why I ended up going to Israel and then getting other jobs. And then
and then you see probably too, some of those things lead you, if you had, you would have ended, everything ends up, even sometimes when we're disappointed, as we reflect back, it could have, it led to other things.
Well, and what it also, I think, shows me is that, and I think you would agree as well, is that if you really want to follow that dream, you continue, So I was deflected, I couldn't get the job, I got other pretty good jobs, I could have gone that other way, but I kept going. I kept trying to get back. I finally got in the door, but then you get in the door, and I really wanted to report, and when I got in the door as a producer, and when you get in the door as a producer, they don't really want you to report. So then I had to break over that way, and that took several years. Ended up going to a small station in Virginia, in Roanoke, Virginia, which is in Southwest Virginia. So I was there for 4 years.
I was just writing about Roanoke somewhere. Like it's in it's in a story. They're all combined right now though, with being in final proofing week.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they refer to Roanoke, they think it's Roanoke, North Carolina. I think that's like the most famous Roanoke, but this is this is deep Virginia,
Yeah,
Southwest
I didn't know there
Virginia.
was one. I don't know. I'm confused now.
I spent a good prime years of my 20s that I'll never get back in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia. Yeah,
it's gonna bug me now. I'm gonna have to go back and look through all of the stories.
Well, it's funny because I started digitizing all this old video I found, and it's been so funny to look back at this stuff and see sort of what you were saying when we're really hard on ourselves coming up, and I'm looking at this stuff and I cannot believe how hard I was on myself and that I was doing pretty good.
Right.
And I remember being so horrified, and I was so courageous, and I was just trying so hard to just do it, and I was so scared. I was so scared, but I did it, and I remember I volunteered and would beg a photographer to help me to, and I volunteer on the weekends while I was a producer during the week to report on the weekends, and finally they hired me to be a reporter, and then ultimately I got to Tampa, where I ended up for 12 years at WFLA here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Persistence, absolutely does, pay off. And I think, what are you? Are you a Taurus by chance?
I'm a Scorpio.
Scorpio. Oh, okay. That's the other good one. that I've
It's an
learned
intense
recently.
one. It's an intense one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But
what are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Okay.
So we're a Taurus and Scorpio, so you can imagine it makes for fun watching television, because being a news junkie, Sam now corrects. I used to enjoy just watching the news.
Oh,
as is.
goodness.
Yeah, it's not.
Now she'll say, oh, they missed a cue. Oh, nope. That's
Well, I mean, you saw.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here for 2 seconds, and I corrected
Right.
your Chiron. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, it's funny, but yeah, your life's changed now, right? Now you're gonna.
No, it's not fun watching the news with me, because I'm also like anticipating the errors and then explaining why that live shot didn't happen.
It's coming. They're gonna upload
and then I'm quizzing him, was that really live? And now he
that's our
knows,
game.
is this
I know
really
some
live
cues.
shot, or is it an as live shot?
Learning some of the vocabulary, voiceovers, and
Vosots. Yeah.
You guys are funny.
but she didn't. She's humble. She didn't tell. She also won 2 Emmys for her reporting. So
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Did
She
you?
always skips over that part.
Oh my goodness! That is huge.
Well, thank you. Well,
Great,
in St. Petersburg, we have the Poynter Institute.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the most amazing experiences of my life, to be able to attend there. And it changed me as a journalist, me as a person completely.
Yeah.
And I went in one way and I came out another. And actually, I came out right before September 11th, and it was a lot. And I just never saw the world the same way. And I learned how to tell stories there, and it just changed everything for me. I mean, I think I could do it. I think when I started, I just wanted to be able to do it. It's a hard job, it's a hard job. I just wanted to be able to run with the best of them and just be able to file stories and make deadline and do it, maybe break a story. But I then learned that I really wanted to tell great stories and tell stories about people and maybe one person and the stories you were just telling. And it kind of changed my focus a little bit. Instead of the kind of running, they used to call it nuts and bolts, like kind of I was a very hard news, breaking news kind of, and I that was always in me. But then I always was really interested in feature, and it ends up that
the heart and soul behind the story,
right.
You wanted something deeper, it's and it is such a it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm honored, as these women and people sit down and all the interviews, hundreds that I've done over the years, and especially this last issue for me, and these women I've admired for so long, and now I am supposed to sit now and write their story in 900 words or less, and it I don't take that lightly, and I want to showcase and highlight them with everything, and I put my heart and soul into it, and it was tough because you can't just turn on writing. I mean, you have to be in the right frame of mind. And when you're pressured timeline wise or anything, it doesn't flow as I've learned to just step away. It'll come when it comes, and it does. But you can't push it necessarily all the time, and
I tell Greg he didn't know me when I was on deadline, working at Channel 8, and some of the worst pressure I had was when I would write an obit piece, which was frequent. Someone would die, which was unfortunately a lot. Someone died, someone got killed, and I was responsible for summarizing this person's life. The pressure that I felt doing that was overwhelming. I mean, it was a lot of pressure, and sometimes just the pressure of telling someone's life story in a night is your job, and in a night, like I just took it on so much. It was so overwhelming. And just the stress in general, or then doing that, and then they'll move you to a different story. You get moved to a different story.
And not having the control necessarily over what you're covering.
And you care, you get invested, and you really want to. So it's nice to be able to have the time to tell the story the way you want to.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I had a child at 18 and was married at 18. So my college experience was, and I was divorced by 20. So I'm like now the single mom in school. But I was political science. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was going to law. I wanted to argue, and make my points known and sway it anyway. And so I would have papers due, and being that I've been working now full time and I've got this young child, and I wasn't like the other kids on campus, that were partying. Yeah, right. I was working and trying to take care of this baby, and so I would write the papers the night before they were due, but I would never. I just learned not to stress because I knew I would do it, and so I turned them in, or turned this one in, and the teacher or the professor had said, your writing's really good. Have you ever considered a career in journalism? And I didn't take it seriously because I just wrote it last night. I just thought, like, how good can this be? I just wrote it last night, and I just remember thinking, you idiot, I just wrote this. Anyway, but, it's interesting. Here I am now, all of these years later, and I hope to spend the latter part of my life writing books. I mean, that's in sharing stories. That's where I want to be. But who would have thought,
Right.
And I totally dismissed that. That could have been maybe, one of those signs we talk about, that maybe to consider. But, and just quick, because Kathy Fountain, who we highlight in this issue, that summer before I had my son, since we were young and he was a year older, he went into the Air Force. And so he was in basic while I had the baby. So I had come back to Florida. My mom was here, and I knew no one. I gained 90 pounds. I'm an 18-year-old pregnant mother, or, wife. And it was a very hard 3 months. Kathy Fountain was on the news from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. And we had, back then, it's 90, we didn't even have the cable channels that we do now.
Right.
And I know my mom didn't, and literally there was just nothing. I don't even know what I did with myself, but that 30 minutes during the day, and I don't know why. Kathy had her Eye on Tampa Bay show that was a part of the news, and that was what I looked forward to every day. And there was something about Kathy. To this day, when I hear her voice, it puts me back on that couch, where as a kid, pregnant, and watching, and to be able to celebrate her 31 years later. And now we're friends and going, rowing together and doing things together. I cannot believe this woman's in my life. And who would have thought? It just it makes the hair on my arm stand up. Like, I'm just so thankful. And it's amazing, like, how all these opportunities, present themselves, and these people come into your lives and touch them in ways that you could have never imagined.
Yeah, it's such a small town in many respects, and I noticed that too. Many other places you go to, and I think we talked about this last time. I know if I started a business in Atlanta or DC, I would have no interaction with the mayor or with the city council or the Chamber of Commerce, except at a very low level. Here you're embraced. You come into this town, and they, because most of the people in this town are not from Tampa, but you are welcome into the town. They let you participate and be part of it, and they want you to.
We saw that even more so during the last year. Just everybody coming together to, what can we do? How can we help?
Right.
We're very lucky in
It's
that.
an unusual place.
Yeah, it's a great place to call home and own a business, and
Right.
I agree. We're pretty lucky. So
We are
Tampa
lucky.
Bay, there's a lot of people coming to the community, or to the area from other areas, why wouldn't they want to? We're
great weather,
right.
low taxes,
Right, yeah.
it's just
And
a
great
place to be.
people.
Great people,
Right,
great
yeah.
place to be.
It's interesting. Dan Bavaro was on the show recently with Bavaro Restaurant. We were talking about how it's changed, and when he purchased the building on Franklin Street for have you been to Bavaro's yet?
I have not.
Okay, Bavaro's is right on Franklin.
Okay.
Where Franklin and it's where the pizza place is. What is it? Salmonetti's is
yes,
on what
yes.
street? What's
Yeah,
Twigs?
Twigs,
Okay, so
right.
he's on the corner almost of Twigs and Franklin.
Okay.
But they opened in 2009, and
I know
it's
where it is. I haven't been there. I've got to go
a
now.
little quaint spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. The
Okay.
penne alla vodka is
Oh, well, you had me at, I'm a pasta.
penne
aficionado,
alla
so-
vodka and their garlic cheese bread and his sauce. His sauce is sold
Well,
in
we'll be
Whole
leaving
Foods.
now.
Right?
I'll just go- no.
Yeah, exactly. You can walk. I'll tell you, we walked quite a few times. It is.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
and garlic, the cheese garlic and the sauce and the penne alla vodka. I'm telling you, you just
Okay.
can't. But it's interesting, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to sit down with him and we reflect, because he's been a part of it, Trevor. But it's like so much has changed. It was like there was no Curtis Hickson, there was no Riverwalk.
Right.
These were, none of that was done at that time yet. And then it's just, to look now of how far our community has come and how beautiful everything is. And he talks about how the downtown partnership back then, they had this scale of Tampa and what it would look like, in 10 years, and that's really what he bought into, in a sense, was this vision of what Tampa could be. And it is definitely
Well,
that.
we experience it every day. We live in Tampa Heights, so when we were looking for a place, Sam had experienced a lot of different areas, and she mentioned Tampa Heights, and I thought, Tampa Heights, I don't know, we haven't been there in a while. I don't know what it looks like. We drove through there and we fell in love. The place is changing. Literally on our street, if you drive for 2 blocks around our house, there are 12 new houses being built or renovated. Wow. It's exploding. And it's fun to see, and the people coming in, it's this younger, kind of hip, group of people coming in, but they want to be part of the downtown experience. And Tampa Heights, at least right now, is somewhat affordable.
Right.
You know, it's changing a little bit in Tampa and Seminole Heights, but we're walking distance to Armature Works and the Riverwalk, and we love it. You know, it's just great to be part of this and watch it all change in real time.
I think that's what's the cool part. Yeah, just seeing how things develop and change over time. I'm trying to I think it was Brendan and Sandy McLaughlin that they've lived in Tampa Heights forever, but Sandy's always, she was with Crisis Center forever. And you know, Brendan was,
ABC.
with one of the news stations forever. But
Yeah, great guy.
They have raved about Tampa Heights forever. Then there's that fire station, right, that was converted.
Yes.
Trying to think of the guy's name that does all the steel.
Yeah, we almost got married there.
Yeah, we looked at that location.
Yeah, he's done a great job with that and the event space, and you know, I love the historic
I do too.
aspect behind it, which is what's great about Tampa Heights in that area, is that you have a little mix of the history, you know, versus, you know, having lived like in the suburbs in Carrollwood forever when I raised the kids, you know, but then being able to now be in, I live down the street, you know, we're in, I love, you know, Hyde Park area.
Yeah,
you know,
great.
it's just the history piece of it, and
Right.
anyway, that's in a whole other conversation. Okay, before I run out of time, but you did end up with the port, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about when you left. Like, I go.
And I also just remembered, because this is really important, and I can't believe I forgot this. So it was Yasser Arafat and Yitzhak Rabin, who's one of my favorite figures of all time. I actually almost worked for Yitzhak Rabin, and he got assassinated.
Oh.
I don't know where my head was. Anyway, Yitzhak Rabin, one of the greatest men ever.
And I don't know him. I don't know that name.
Yeah, he was assassinated in 1994 at a peace rally.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, all that being said, yes, I worked at Port Tampa Bay a few years ago. That's where you and I met, actually. You were commissioner there.
Yep.
Oh, is that right?
And we both realized we lived in Channelside. And then we, you know, started dating. I was in the Pier House apartments. You were in the Fitzgerald, and so we hung out in all of the places, and you know, in Channelside there, you know, the District Tavern and Chena, the Italian restaurant there. So that became our hang.
Yeah, I actually met you. I mean, we actually started dating after you left, just to, you know,
just to
be clear.
Put on the record.
Yeah.
But no, but it is really true, because I remember you left and I was chasing you to just say, oh, wait, you know, because I remember the day before you left, I wanted to say, you had said, I want you to know you're doing a great job doing PR, because I subsequently moved to do public relations after I finished doing journalism. I started working for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, then I worked for AT&T, then I worked for Port Tampa Bay, which is where we're at this story. And then you had sent me an email and you said, you're doing a great job, which really meant a lot to me. And I wanted to like chase you down to say, hey, and I didn't catch you.
And that's where it was
And then,
starting.
yeah, I never caught you.
Right.
But I guess I eventually did.
did.
But I did. I just remember running. I had to go back into the meeting. But I thought that was very nice of you. You still claim that you didn't write that email, like, with any ulterior motives. Yes. I was doing a good job at PR.
I love
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. I know. I mean, I remember when she came on board, we were all excited at the port because, you know, they needed the help of, you know, raising their profile, and Sam came on board and it changed everything.
Yeah. And all those, it's just so many great experiences, really, and it molds you into where you go next. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And something else I was going to say, again, talking about Kathy real quick, she had mentioned how she never had or thought she'd be a reporter, that they hired her initially to write commercials. And it just so happened that they needed a fill-in for something, and they hadn't found who they were going to use yet. And anyway, so she filling in, and then they offered her the opportunity. She was like, right place at the right time.
That's great.
You know, and that's how a lot of the stories seems to happen, you know, where, I mean, it still was many years, but she didn't necessarily aspire to do that, but she just wanted to write, but she got, you know, one thing led to another, which then led to her latter chapter, you know, in a sense. But she mentioned that she talks about like just the high intensity of it, you know, just the being on and, you know, dictated and not being necessarily respected. Not, I mean, you know, like she had her own ideas, you know, and things to do. And they were like, yeah, okay, Kathy, you know, go be pretty and sit in front of the, you know, camera. And, you know, her voice wasn't heard, you know, and so it took a toll.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have enough time to really go into all of the things that go on in TV news and in a TV newsroom, but as far as the exploration of what happens to women in a newsroom. But what I will say is there is this kind of natural equalizing thing that happens that's kind of neat because of the rapid pace of news. So outside of all of those things that we don't have enough time to explore, that is kind of like the dark underbelly, which is kind of like showbiz
Right.
and all those things that we don't have enough time to
It wasn't a
discuss.
talk show.
I think we have a future podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot there, but because it's basically showbiz, because it's it's an aesthetic business, and but there's also there's just a lot of things going on there, but because there's an equalizing force there, and it's because it moves so fast, and so if you can perform and produce, and whoever you are and whatever you look like and whatever gender you are, whatever, if you're a Martian and you do it, they'll take it and you can succeed. And that's one thing I really loved about working in news, is that somehow, when I started, I remember kind of being pigeonholed, oh, here, have some fluffy consumer stuff.
Right.
We don't really want you doing the hard news. I wanted to do the hard news. I wanted to be with the guys that gave the guys the hard news, and I was just trying, you have to really do it. And if I found it and I did it and I worked it, well, they weren't going to turn me down. They weren't going to turn my stories away. And so that's how you do it. Of course, it takes the extra work, a lot of extra work. Is it fair? No, but
Right.
in the end, there is this equalizing force there. And I suppose that it's that way with any, in any place. But sometimes I don't know that it ends up equalizing as
Well,
quickly.
I mean, most of us, you're not based on what you look like, though. I mean, for
Yeah.
news, I think
Well,
there's such
yeah,
heavy
and-
emphasis on
And
appearance
aging, and
right.
Kathy even, of
Yeah.
course, this was 90s and her prime time with it, so she's, she kind of dealt with it when you did have more of the, non-equality in a sense between men and women back then, but, she talks about how she knew it was temporary, that she saw other women before her leaving, and being pushed away for younger women. So she knew she was, she thought anyway, that she was on this time limit. And so she got her master's degree and was planning out her last chapter, her other chapters, we'll say. But so she was like, I kept waiting for them to come and tell me to go, and they didn't, but it's a great story. But she was ready to go. She knew, because the other women before her were pushed out, that eventually she'd be too old to be, or she thought she would be. Right. And that's, it might be nice to think that's changed a little, that we're able to age more gracefully, maybe some.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me, because Greg's heard me have some breakdowns watching TV. It's just tough because I have a hard time with it, because I just watch it and I see the same thing all the time. I see the old guy and I see the young, beautiful woman. Why are they always wearing almost like hardly any clothes? They're always wearing I'm not saying, I mean, that's great. Why isn't it equal? I have no problem with showing your body, and that's, whatever that is. But I was in news when it was like, okay, everyone starts showing their arms, start wearing really sleek, women, let's start having clear, desks, and women show your leg. This was a thing. But yet the men keep getting bigger and older and balder.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Wrong with being bald.
No, you're so handsome. No, but we were watching ESPN the other day, and my brain almost completely
Had a
malfunctioned.
meltdown, right?
I really almost I almost lost it completely.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack watching.
Well, men don't seem to age off the desk.
They don't.
That.
And I was like, if we had a woman who looked like this guy who's a total slob, there's just no way they'd show this woman on TV.
Yeah. Right.
And I have it's not that I have a problem. And actually, sometimes they do have a problem with some of the way, some of the clothes, And I remember when I came to Tampa, well, it's tough. It's so hot here. And so you just get hot. So you don't, you're just trying to
It's
not
hot.
sweat all the
Right,
time.
right.
And I remember that was like, I guess, right before everyone started taking their clothes off on the air. And I remember, they had said to me, you just gotta just be careful, like, just make sure you're covered up. It's just, they weren't trying to say anything weird, but like, just be careful,
Well, it is
and
weird.
now it's like,
Right.
the more you show, the better. That was just like right before everything went like crazy. And no one would say that to anyone now. Now I mean.
Right. We are in Florida. It is
Yeah.
hot. And you do see the men in these suits and jackets, right, most of the time. And then the women are in sleeveless, or cut down. And,
yeah.
it's but it is
You
hot.
don't see a woman, like, watch the news tonight. Are you going to see a woman in a suit and
Frumpy. tie.
Even in a lovely blouse which you're wearing, which is fitting and lovely, no, it's like you got to show skin. Women have to show skin in every market, really.
Yeah.
And men don't. Why aren't men showing their arms?
Well, we talk about this all the time.
Don't even
We're
get
gonna
me
run out of
started.
time,
I got to stop.
Let me just say, I can post a picture, anything, right? Okay, so I was in a beta. I mean, you don't even have. I didn't even show anything. Maybe cleavage, kind of, but half of something. I mean, and over 1,000 people like looking at this photo, right? But I can post about all these stories I'm sharing, or something great that's happened, and 2 people. They don't care unless I do show that, and it's
Right,
that just proved that point at that point. I'm like, what is wrong with society that I can share this and you care, but then I can talk about something that's truly important to me
Right.
and you could care less. Oh, and we were even trying to build up subscribers. I'm like, please, you read all my stories, you watch, and I promote you, okay, so subscribe. We have like 15 subscribers. Now we're trying to build, because before it was dragging them all or pulling them to the website. We still have that. Like, nobody did anything. There was no movement. But I bet if I did it with a bikini top on,
Right.
everybody would, not everybody, but I'm just
Right,
saying,
right.
there is something wrong with that. And
Well,
that's
I mean, if you're going to have women be eye candy, then have the men be eye candy. Like, I have no problem
But
with
equal,
saying
right,
your
that's just
women
fair
have
play.
like, why don't the men have to be attractive?
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, let's have,
If that's your strategy.
right. You know what? See, I told you this 56 minutes goes fast,
It
right?
does.
We need like 20 more, and we're about out. Thank you guys so much for coming and talking with me. And that's why I enjoyed the conversations, and I like the rawness and realness. And we don't cushion things. And I appreciate and respect and thank you, for speaking your truth. And
That's why I'm going to keep her.
yeah, I think you should. And I might be reaching out more. I mean, there might be some opportunities too to utilize some of your talents and your gift.
Sam
touching
Sodos
others.
watches the news.
I love it.
Sam Sodos critiques local news.
Oh man, right? Can you imagine that?
It would be awesome.
Thank you again. Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. Go online, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, to all of our podcasts. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Never stop dreaming.